Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Jeremy, and today I'll be showing you how to read data and analyze data using Google Forms. In previous videos, I have showed you how to create multiple choice questions on Google Forms and how to create constructive response questions on Google Forms. And now we're actually going to look at the data from those assessments. The content we'll be using today will be from grade 10, unit 3, the Cold War, and grade 10, unit 4, decolonization. Our objectives for today is to analyze both multiple choice and written assessment data on Google Forms, and also to how do we give back information and feedback on Google Forms as well, right? So let's look at a form already created for us. And this now merges both the multiple choice and the constructive responses from previous videos. So this is our completed form. Before I go, I do want to show you how you can actually do response validation. If you go to these dots right here, let's say I want the students to go to certain sections based on a certain answer. So maybe one of your periods was already advanced and they've already mastered the multiple choice questions. You could say, well, for period 3, I want them to go straight to the CRQs. And if you do that, they will bypass the multiple choice section and go directly to section 3 for the CRQs. And I'll show you how that looks on the back end. Right? So now that we have set up our form, that has been sent, students have taken this assessment, we now want to see, well, what do students know? There are several ways to look at data using Google Forms, and this is why I really love this tool. So first, Google will give you insights on the responses. They'll give you the average, the median, and the range of student responses. And they also will give you what the students received as scores. And once you have looked through their scores, and if you have finished grading everything, you could also release the scores and it goes directly to the students. And you can see when you released it as well. I think this is a very useful tool. It is direct feedback to students, and they get it nearly immediately once you release those scores. So it also will give you the information. So if we have our first name or last name, it tells you the data from which period has given in your assignment. And I love this section as well, in which it tells you, well, where are students getting the answers? Like what answers are they getting correct? Which questions might be troubling for them? If there were more questions, Google would also give you a most missed section up here as well. And so this is what we have right now from the answers that were taken. You could see everything was correct here, but oh, we had missed something here. And you could choose to go back and go over these with students as well. Now we have our constructive responses as well. You may see that we have 3 here because the period 3 had moved on to answer this. A great way to now give direct feedback to students. So this was our overall summary. Now we could do it in 2 ways. We could do it question by question, in which you blindly answer the questions. So let's say you do not want to know which student answered what. Well, you can look at the answer and you could just grade it blindly. And you can say, yes, you received this point. Yes, you received this, or no, you didn't receive this point. And if you choose to do that, once you figure out your points, then you make sure to save. Because if you move on and you don't save, it won't save. Let's say though, I actually want to I want to know what the students are. I want to know which student did what. You could go to individual and you could see each of the students here and you could grade them individually. So let's say I want to grade this student individually. I could see this is the question that they got wrong in the multiple choice. And I also can tell the correct answer. Let's say I want to give them feedback on the multiple choice. You could say, Ooh, sorry. So you could give them some feedback here. You could actually attach a rubric. You could attach some notes here as well. You could say, be careful of tricky questions. And that will show up when they are going. You could always change your feedback or delete it if you feel that it's no longer necessary as you go through. Let's say you want to give feedback on their CRQ. Same, you go to add individual feedback. Nice touch. And you could add a document, you could add a video, and you save it. And just make sure before you do anything that you save it here so that it goes to students directly. There is actually also another way to look at the data from this activity. And this is where it really steps up. You can create a spreadsheet using this data. So if you go to this button here, it'll create a spreadsheet, it'll name it the title of the form, or if you wanted to, you could add it to another existing spreadsheet, but I'm gonna create a new one. And this will now be created for you. And it will keep updating as students take the assessment. So you do not have to do anything. It is directly linked to that form that we were working on. And we're going to see all our responses. We have the time stamp for when students put everything in. We have their scores. We have their names and their information, and we have their answers. So you could do a detailed look and you have this spreadsheet ready for you. So I hope that you do use Google Forms. The information that you can really dive into and the data can be very, very useful. I hope you found this useful. Have a great day.